Hey guys, today I'm going to be reviewing Interview with the Vampire Season 2. So, before I head into my thoughts and feelings on Season 2 of Interview with the Vampire, there's a pretty good chance that this video will contain some spoilers. This is 2 seasons in. If you're watching the show, you've watched it. I don't see why you would be watching this video if you've not seen the previous season and seen this season, I suppose. So yeah, there's probably going to be some minor spoilers going on in this video. So yeah, well, let's get going. So what exactly is going on in Season 2 of Interview with the Vampire? You guys, we left last season with the demise, supposedly, of Lestat, and Louis and Claudia being like, okay, let's get the hell out of New Orleans and, you know, go search out some other vampires. So that's what we're doing this season. Louis and Claudia travel across war-torn Europe in search of other vampires, coming in contact with a group of Parisian vampires who run a twisted theater led by the charismatic Armand. And that's another thing, because we got that big Armand reveal at the end of Season 1, which was like, oh my god, Armand. So let's see. You guys, this second season, I was really looking forward to this second season. So I'll kind of start with my negatives with the season first. Let me get the negatives out of the way. Because my negatives are primarily just the front half of the season. The season was only 8 episodes long, but the first 4 episodes, oh boy, you guys, I had a bit of a rough time. I did really like episode 1, because that was the episode where even the movie adaptation, you know, with Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt, the movie adaptation never adapted the part of the book where Louis and Claudia are, you know, traveling around Europe, and I want to say in the book that they do stop at Transylvania, and they're hearing like rumors of other vampires and stuff. And yeah, once again, the movie never adapted that, so I like that episode 1 of this season, they adapted that part that I think a lot of people kind of almost forget about. So I did find episode 1 really interesting. But then, yeah, unfortunately, even though I was just so looking forward to the whole vampire theater, because it's just so whimsical and interesting, you know, very, very Anne Rice, if you will, the thing is, I kind of found that front half of the season where we're getting introduced to all the vampires in the theater, and we're getting all that going, I felt like a lot of that was a little too slow and monotonous for me, if that makes sense. I found myself getting kind of fidgety, weirdly enough. Like, I just want the story to get going, because that part of the book, when Louis and Claudia do get to the vampire theater or whatever, it's not really that big of a part in the book necessarily, because I feel like it's kind of, in some ways, it's a small part, because I feel like the entire front chunk of Interview with the Vampire is very much focused on that relationship with Lestat and Louis and Claudia, you know, the trio. And the theater just kind of comes out of nowhere near the end of the book. So I felt like there was just almost too much time spent with the theater, and it feeling kind of repetitive. I feel like we were just getting the same story in like episode 2, 3, and 4. If that makes any sort of sense. I just wanted the action to get going, and I just felt like the action was never getting going. Now, yes, I mean, I understand what they were trying to do with those particular episodes, because they needed to establish, like, Santiago, for instance. They really needed to establish him. They really needed to establish, like, Louis' role within the theater, Claudia's role within the theater, and yet really develop out that relationship between Armand and Louis, because that comes into play in a huge way by the time we get to the end of this season. And yeah, I mean, even though I liked seeing, you know, because Louis is, he's in a lot of turmoil, you know, even Book Louis, he's just in a lot of emotional turmoil, and he likes to brood. And Louis is kind of doing that a lot in this season as well, because he's thinking about what him and Claudia did to Lestat, and they start to learn that there are vampire laws, that you can't kill one of your own, and you can't create a child, which Claudia is, you can't create a child into a vampire. So they start to realize they have done some wrong things, and Lestat never told them any of that. And Louis is seeing Lestat. like he's like materializing in his brain, and he's having full-blown conversations with Lestat at times. And I mean, I did like that. I liked the back and forth with Louis and the imaginary Lestat, because it helps say a lot about their relationship and how Louis feels, you know, and the words that are coming out of Lestat are actually kind of what Louis is really feeling more than anything. I did like a lot of that, but once again, we get so much of it with the back and forth with Louis and Lestat that even that started to feel repetitive. It's like they needed to come up with a way so Sam Reed could be in the show, and that was the only way they can do it until the big reveal when he pops up at the end, you know? So yeah, I just honestly had a rough time with the first 4 episodes. I just wanted it to get going because I almost feel like it was too long. If this season had been 6 episodes, I think that would have been great. I think 8 was honestly a little too much. So where the show, weirdly enough, finally picked up some speed for me was the flashback with Daniel Malloy, because I think it was all hinted at last season, and then we finally get into it into this season, that Daniel's memory has been wiped or something. There was something that happened between him and Louis back in the 70s. I think in San Francisco is what it was. And yeah, there was an original interview that was happening in the 70s, which is nice because that's a nice little shout out to the book, because in the book, the original interview is taking place in the 70s, if I'm not mistaken, because I think the book was written in the 70s. So I like that little kind of shout out. You know, there was an original interview, and this time it's with a young Daniel Malloy, as a young man, you know, and him and Louis kind of have some interesting chemistry going on, which is kind of like, oh my god, that's bizarre. So weirdly enough, the flashback sequence, I love that episode, and it might be kind of one of the best episodes of the season in general, and I wasn't expecting that. When the episode first started and it was revealed the whole thing was going to be a flashback, at first I was like, oh my god, I don't care. I don't want to see this. I don't care. Just get back into the story. But I walked out of that episode, my mind completely turned in a whole new direction, because it was easily my favorite episode of the season. I loved it, and just everything going on with Louis and Armand, you guys, is huge and pivotal, especially once again for things that happen near the end of the season. And I really appreciated seeing this younger version of Malloy, who is really cocky and arrogant, and yeah, he's willing to sleep with Louis if he has to, which was crazy. And yeah, I mean, the younger version did such a great job, because you believe him, you know, because there's the older version and they match up. You know, they both match up. I believe both of them as the same character. But yeah, what an incredible flashback episode, you guys. Wow. So yeah, from that point on, I think the episode definitely started picking, or the season rather, the season started picking up speed, because then we finally get more with Madeline, because Madeline had been just lurking in the background doing absolutely nothing. So we finally get more of Madeline and that dynamic with Claudia. Yeah, Lestat makes his big grand entrance. Yeah, guys, we get that insane trial. Yeah, the death of Claudia. Oh my god. And the big thing, the big shocker, the fact that Armand is the one who is really the most responsible for Claudia's death at the end of the day. That whole play was rehearsed. Armand knew about it, and Armand, he took that upon himself to lie and say, oh yeah, Louis, when everyone was saying you were guilty, but then what should the verdict be? I'm the one who said, oh, it should just be banishment. But Armand had nothing to do with that. That was Lestat controlling the audience. Armand did not control the audience. Lestat controlled the audience, you guys. That was just an absolute mindfuck right there. The entire relationship with Louis and Armand this season was just absolutely compelling, and my heart was broken by the end of this season, because like even the book, the movie, I really like that relationship between Armand and Louis, because I think they work better together. I don't think it's as abusive, but I really love what this show did. That poor Louis, you know, Louis is a victim, unfortunately, at the end of the day, and his entire vampiric life, he has been abused. He was first I think physically and mentally abused by Lestat. And Armand is not physically abusive to Louis, but I think his abuse of Louis is far worse in some ways. The abuse of Louis just emotionally and mentally, I think it is. I think it's much worse. I think it's much worse than Lestat, weirdly enough. And yeah, Lestat is the one who like would physically beat up Louis, which I don't know what that says, but either way, they're both bad. They're both bad for what they did to Louis. But seriously, I think, yeah, that betrayal, Armand's betrayal, you guys, that got to me. I was devastated. I was heartbroken. That reveal. I was watching the episode and my jaw literally dropped when Daniel he was rolling it out for Louis. Like, Louis, what's wrong with you? I see the connections, because I think Daniel all season, because Louis and Armand were putting on this show of, oh, we're so in love, we've been together for this long, and Armand has always rubbed Daniel the wrong way. Daniel has never liked Armand, he has never trusted Armand, and yet he has spent this whole season, I think, trying to open Louis's eyes to, like, this is what kind of man this guy is. This is who you say you love, but I'm seeing something else in there, So I love how Daniel really fits into this plot and becomes a really pivotal, vital character in this relationship. Because he's the one who unravels all this and is like, Louis, I see what's going on here. This is what's going on. Whew, you guys, seriously, wow. That breathtaking finale, my God. Whew. Okay, so yeah. What else to talk about? I don't know what else to talk about here. Yeah, I continue to really like Jacob Anderson's performance of Louis this season. Again, the first 4 episodes were just rough for me, but once we get to that flashback chapter, I really, yeah, Jacob Anderson's performance from episode 5 on was absolutely stunning and compelling. We do have a new Claudia this season, played by Delaney Hales. I really liked Delaney Hales. I was concerned at first because I really liked the previous actress who played Claudia, but I really liked Delaney Hales. She really kind of took her own version of Claudia and rolled with it, and it totally worked for me. Yeah, Claudia is just she has so much spunk this season and so much desire, and yeah, wanting to separate herself. She's kind of fed up. She's had enough of Louis. Yeah, Asad Zaman as Armand. I think Azad Zaman had probably one of the most compelling performances this season with Armand. Just really unexpected. Totally unexpected with Armand, you guys. My God. We have Sam Reed, obviously, back as Lestat. Sam Reed, I think he just has way too much fun playing Lestat. Let's be real. He has way too much fun. He loves his character. He loves being flamboyant and over the top. I am here for it. I can't wait to see what Sam Reed does because we are getting another season of this show, but we're moving into more of Lestat's story and his flashbacks and all that, because I think we're getting into the books like the Vampire Lestat and Queen of the Damned and all that. So I'm excited to see more of Sam Reed and what he's going to do with all that. Yeah, Eric Bogosian as Malloy. As I said, I was really pleasantly surprised with Malloy this season, how much attention and focus was put on him, the fact that he was given that whole big flashback, and yeah, how pivotal Malloy becomes in that finale, you guys. Wow. And yeah, he gets turned into a vampire at the end. Oh my God, that was great. I loved it. Yeah, we have Ben Daniels as Santiago. I loved Ben Daniels as Santiago. You guys, Santiago is a sadist. He is just insane. He is a straight up villain. Ben Daniels, you can tell he was just relishing this role, just how juicy it was. Yeah, because Santiago is like the lead actor of the troupe of the theater vampires, and yeah, he's a big diva. He's a big diva. He likes all the attention put on him, and yeah, what a performance he puts on. At the trial of Louis and Claudia. But yeah, I love Ben Daniels in this. And then we have Roxanne Duran playing Madeline. I was really conflicted about Madeline for a long time because even in the book, even in the movie, Madeline she's barely a presence. Barely a presence. And I think this show is trying to do what they could with her to kind of flesh her out a little bit more because she is one of the victims of the trial. Because this show is taking place kind of during World War II and after, we find out that Madeline, that she had like an affair with a Nazi soldier. Or a German soldier. I'm not sure if it was maybe a Nazi officer, if it was just a German soldier. I'm not quite sure. Either way, she was having sex with an enemy in France, you know, under the Nazi occupation of France. So yeah, her shop, because she's a seamstress, her shop, people are always like painting swastikas on her shop window. You know, people know she was a traitor to her country, but the show gives her a lot of compassion, that she was just trying to survive. You know, like how other people were trying to survive, she was trying to survive in her own fashion. So I like what the show was doing there with Madeline, really trying to give her something at least compelling within that, you know. And I liked her relationship with Claudia. It was very, very short-lived. I feel like no matter the adaptation here, you know, book, movie, show, Madeline always just gets the short end of the stick, because she's literally introduced like at the end of the book, and not much is done with her, unfortunately. So it's like she gets turned into a vampire and it's cut like immediately short. You know, immediately cut short. So yeah, Roxanne Duran definitely did the best with what she was given, and I think she pulled it off. So yeah, another big thing going on here, because Daniel keeps getting messages. He's like in conversation with another shadowy guy who's like working for the Talamasca or whatever, and the Talamasca is like some sort of secret agency that deals with the supernatural. Like they're like the CIA of the supernatural, is kind of my understanding. And I believe the Mayfair Witches spinoff show, which is also another series by Anne Rice, the Talamasca are like in that show as well. And AMC is trying to do this whole like extended universe, and it seems like they're using the Talamasca as this means to connect all these various different shows that are within the Anne Rice universe. And we're getting a show for the Talamasca, which I don't know how I feel about that, but I guess we'll see how it goes. Because like even Mayfair Witches was okay, but I did not love it at all. I found it kind of a little dull at times and just really cheap and overacted. I'd much rather have a lot of spin-offs with like Interview with the Vampire. You know, I don't really care about like Mayfair Witches. I don't really care about a Talamasca show. Just give me more Interview with the Vampire. I'll be happy with that. So you guys, that is it for my thoughts and feelings on season 2 of Interview with the Vampire. In general, even though I had a rough start with the first chunk of the season, I think this was still a really good, satisfying season just for the second half alone, and it's like I kind of forgive the first half, you know. So yeah, you guys, definitely tell me your thoughts and feelings on season 2 of Interview with the Vampire. Feel free to go into spoiler territory, and yeah, are you looking forward to Lestat's seasons? So you guys, that is it for this review. Did you enjoy Interview with the Vampire season 2? Let me know. So that's it for this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and if you like this video, you may like these other videos. Bye guys.